We have Todd joining us on the show today. It's great to have you back. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yes. Did you have a good Christmas break and New Year's?
We did.
Good.
It was a good opportunity to actually be a dad and a husband.
Nice.
You know, you got to do that.
You
recharge
do.
Your batteries.
You're very busy doing other things, so it's good to have some good family time.
Yeah.
We have a variety of topics that we thought we would talk about today, beginning with the fact that there's been some First Nation land claims that have been sort of, what's the right word, rejected or not approved of by the provincial government.
Well, actually, back in September, the Skeetchestn and the Kamloops Indian bands filed a claim in Supreme Court, basically focused for the most part on the Ajax project, and a lot of what the claim has to do with is their belief that a lot of the authorizations that have been in play up to this point to get the Ajax project to where it's at need to be either stopped or delayed pending a broader discussion of Aboriginal title and rights. That's fine. I mean, I think everybody understands that part of the issue. But embedded in this claim was also a request of the courts for the courts to declare Aboriginal title over all private property. Not just at Ajax, and that's what I think people in Kamloops need to understand. Not just at Ajax. Skeetchestn and the Kamloops Indian Band are through this claim, are requesting that the courts declare Aboriginal title over every inch of private property in Kamloops, Sun Peaks, Logan Lake, Ashcroft, and essentially their portion of the Secwepemc traditional territory. This is a groundbreaking request, and there's many that believe this could be a test case in Canada, not just in British Columbia. So our response, we filed our response in court last week, was essentially to make it very clear that we're going to vigorously defend private property rights in Kamloops and across the province. That is a bridge that we are not prepared to cross. The sanctity of private property has to be respected.
So if this was really, their mandate obviously was larger than just Ajax Mine, but if they wanted to focus in on just those lands, perhaps they should have been more specific about that.
Well, and I've been a bit disappointed because even, after we came out with our response to the claim a week ago, Chief Shane and Chief Ron haven't really dealt with this issue head on, in my opinion. They haven't answered the tough questions when people ask them, is this a play for private property, for Aboriginal title over private property out, beyond Ajax, meaning the city of Kamloops? I'm talking people who live in Juniper Ridge, where I live, people who live in Westside, or the ground that the university and the hospital is on. Crown land and private property. Is this really what you're trying to achieve? And they continue to try and focus it exclusively on the Ajax project, which of course, as we know, is highly contentious in Kamloops just generally. We want to continue to work with them and think that negotiation is way better than litigation in the courts. We think we've got a terrific relationship with both Skeetchestn and Kamloops. New Gold, the very first mineral revenue sharing agreement was actually New Gold, Skeetchestn, the Kamloops Indian Band, and that has become a template for the whole province. So let's deal with this outside the courts, and but we also have to be really upfront and honest with each other about what our intentions are. And I don't think, embedding in this claim a play for Aboriginal title over all private property in Kamloops meets that test.
Okay, let's move on to another issue. Let's talk a little bit about those variable speed signs that were announced last month on the Coquihalla, amongst two others. This is what they look like, but the Coquihalla apparently set to get 13 of them between the Porsche interchange and the former toll booth location. I think we could go to the next picture and see, in fact, that some of them or all of them have been installed now?
We're very close to having them all installed, and you're quite right. It was a couple of years ago we announced we were moving forward with this on 3 pilot locations, including the Coquihalla Highway. You're absolutely correct in where these signs will be. There will be 13 of them. We're also going to do this, put these signs in place west of Revelstoke, which is of interest to a lot of people in and around Kamloops too, and on the Sea to Sky Highway. The total program cost is about $12.5 million. We are very close to having them all installed, and will be embarking upon a 2 to 3 month testing period. So my hope here is that we're actually going to be able to flick the switch on these signs this coming March. And the beauty of this is we're going to be able to detect rapid changes in weather, in particular, through sensors in the roads and other technology that's wrapped around these signs. We will know if there's freezing rain. We will know if there's large accumulations of snow in a short period of time. And the whole point of this is obviously based on weather changes and traffic volumes and so forth. We will be able to reduce the speed on the electronic signs, the 13 electronic signs that we will have in this corridor very, very quickly to a more appropriate speed based on the conditions that exist at the time. So on the Coquihalla, 120 is the posted maximum. What people, I think, often forget is that's the maximum under ideal driving conditions, which is usually in the summer when the road is dry.
And it isn't right now.
It isn't right now.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the time, a more appropriate speed might be 60 or 70 kilometers per hour. Based on the conditions, and we'll be able to dial that speed down to a more appropriate speed to obviously reduce the possibility of collisions and certainly fatalities.
So in these variable speed zones, as they're called, if you're not abiding by what says 70 kilometers an hour, could you get ticketed?
Absolutely. They will be regulatory, which means just as the static sign right now on the Coquihalla says 120, if the electronic sign says 90, that sign with 90 posted is the legal maximum at that particular point in time. So if you're caught driving above that, you risk being handed a ticket by law enforcement. There will be an education period.
Sure.
And by that, I should point out also on both ends of these variable speed zone corridors, there will be huge overhead signs that make it really clear to motorists you are entering a variable speed zone section of the highway. So pay attention to the electronic signs because they might have a speed that is different than what you're used to on that particular corridor.
Okay, good to know. And again, what are we shooting for? Maybe springtime that those are up and running?
Again, we're working as hard as we can so that this is all operational, and we want to flick the switch on this by March of this year.
Okay, awesome. I don't want to throw to a break yet because I have a couple more questions, so we're just going to go heavy in this segment. Let's talk about some of the projects that are coming up for area highways for our region as we get into the warmer weather.
Sure. So, I think most prominent is continued work on the Trans-Canada Highway east of Kamloops, 4-laning, particularly from Hoffman's Bluff eastward. We did a lot of blasting up until the snow started to fly, and there's a lot more blasting to do. But that next section will be done by this coming fall. And of course, last year we announced that we're moving forward with the next 2 sections, which will take us from roughly where Hoffman's Bluff is today all the way to the village of Chase. So work will begin on that later this year, early in 2017. When we get all of that done, I think just to put it all in perspective, and I'm really proud of this, we will, once we are 4-lane to Chase, from Monty Creek to Chase, a 14-kilometer stretch, that represents about a $200 million investment in 4-laning the Trans-Canada Highway, which has made that stretch of highway tremendously safer. So there's that project. We're also going to see another really strong year of rehabilitation on side roads in the area. Last year we did East Shuswap Road, we did Paul Lake Pinitan Road, we did Lac Lejeune Road. There's a lot of, I think people saw a lot of improvement in the Kamloops area, and they'll see more through this year on our side roads as well.
Okay, good to know. Last thing, and not pertaining to highways, but you do other things when you're not worried about taking care of our highways and being our local MLA. You are handing out awards back in Victoria for people who have served with the government for a long time. And the reason why this one is up is because this is my best friend in the whole wide world. Her name is Dana Richards, and she has served with the Transportation Ministry, I believe, as an employee for 25 years. Is that right?
I might be wrong. She'll correct one of us on this.
She will.
But I believe she's actually been with the ministry for 27 years.
Okay.
We gave her, this was her 25-year recognition.
Okay.
And we do this in sort of November every year. It's one of my favorite things to do, actually. I mean, the ministry is one of the most respected ministries in government because of people like Dana.
Well, I'm glad that we had a chance to air that, of course, as well. She loves her job, but...
and I bet you she knows a lot about you. She probably knows where all the bodies are buried.
She does, but she's not talking because she's my bestie. But anyways, it's neat to see that. Funnily enough, she was at UVic the same time you and I were, so it's neat to look back at things. And congratulations to Dana and all the
You just dated us
long-serving.
now, 27 years of service.
Shoot. I know. Todd, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Information on the screen if you would like to get a hold of Todd. Not a cell phone, though, just his regular office number. We're back in 2 minutes. Stay with us.